Welcome back, y'all, and happy Sunday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Over the past few weeks on this channel, we've talked a lot about the changes that the staff needs to make, specifically with our passing game. We've talked about the scheme, we've talked about play calling, and all that good stuff. But it's not just about the coaching staff. The players have to do their part of it, too. So I want to start it off today talking about Nico Iamaleava, our quarterback. There are some things that I think that he can do better moving forward, and he needs to be working on this stuff in the offseason for us to have a very productive 2025 year. Now, before we do get into the film room, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And I also want to start this off by saying that Nico is just as talented as any quarterback that's ever played the game of football on any level. He can literally do anything. But again, we will kind of touch on some things that I feel like he needs to get fixed. And these are the three things that I want to focus on today inside of the film room. Number one is going to be pre-snap identification. So I'm talking about understanding what the coverage is, knowing where the blitzes are coming from. And that can also include maybe changing the plays. And we will see actually in this film where Nico does have the power to do that. The next thing is going to be to throw on time, and that would include checkdowns and underneath stuff. I think that if the pre-snap ID is right, then throwing on time is going to be a lot easier. Nico has got to make sure that the ball is there coming out of these wide receivers' breaks. What he's doing, because he has such great arm strength and accuracy, he's waiting until they come all the way out of their breaks, and he's able to actually fit it into some very, very tight windows. It makes it more difficult for him, but it also makes it a lot more difficult for the players to make plays after the catch, because everyone is right on top of him as soon as the ball gets there. But I think that those things will definitely help Nico out. And obviously the last thing that everyone knows, Nico's got to do a much better job with his deep ball accuracy. It wasn't always on point this season, and we will take a look at some of those things as well inside of the film room. All right, y'all, first play that we're going to be looking at is a 1st and 10 versus Arkansas. It's 45 seconds left in the half. So we are just trying to, preserve time, keep our timeouts, all that type of stuff. What we're going to have with our tight end right here is a quick out. So what I want to focus on right here with Nico is he's got to get this ball out of his hands a lot quicker than he does. So boom, let this thing go. At this point, the ball needs to be coming out. Fit it in here, because we know that, hey, he's open. There's no one to the outside of him. He is breaking out. And again, if you give him the ball on time, he can make some things happen after the catch. He probably could have gotten on up the field 2 or 3 more yards and then gotten out of bounds. Every little bit helps whenever you're playing football, but instead Nico trusts his arm a lot, which, I mean, it kind of got us through the season for the most part. It got us up to the playoffs, but I'm telling you, after watching so much film on Nico, after watching so much film on this offense, period, that if Nico would be more on time with his throws, we could have been in a much better situation. So let's go and let this thing roll again. Boom, at this point, the ball should probably already be on that tight end. But again, it just comes a little bit late. Still a pretty decent result, but we'll go on to the next play. Next play is a 2nd and 3. There's 41 seconds left in the half. There will be blitzes coming, and I also just want to let y'all know that all the clips that we'll be looking at, or all the clips that we'll be breaking down today, there will be some sort of a blitz. But on this play, Nico had the time to throw it right here on a comeback. It's pretty much the same thing that we talked about on the previous play. You got to get it out. So boom, right here, we need to be throwing this. Like, the ball needs to be coming out, or at least here. The ball should have already been out, but instead what Nico does is he's going to scramble out. And actually, the pocket is still pretty clean. That's something else that I think Nico maybe could work on, is standing inside of the pocket a little bit longer. Now, he got better at that over the course of the year. This is very early on in the season. Again, keeping in mind that this is his first season as a starter, these types of things will happen. And like we talked about yesterday, Peyton Manning has even said it himself, quarterbacks need to play. Really, all players need to play. That's where you're going to grow at the most. So, instead of doing this, scrambling out and just trying to force it right there, in a low percentage winning situation, Nico could have had the play from Jump Street if he just was on time and trusted that, hey, I'm going to throw this right here, right now. As soon as I get to the top of my break, boom, I'm throwing this now, and the wide receiver is going to make the play. Now, you could maybe even, argue that you could throw it here. Now, this is an NFL sort of a window, but if Nico wants to go into the league, he's got to start making these throws. He's got the arm talent to do these types of things. We just need to see him doing it on a more consistent basis. All right, y'all, third play will be a 3rd and 6 versus Florida. Very similar route combination to what we saw on the first play versus Arkansas, where the tight end is going to try to run in out or come back. That's going to be covered up. So Nico does a good job of saying, hey, that's not there. Let me go to my second read. The second read is going to be a backside dig. And the offensive line also does a really good job of giving Nico the time to go through his reads. That's something that we won't be talking about too much today, but on a different video, we will. So Nico has the time, goes through his reads, makes a very accurate pass. And look, because it is on time, this wide receiver has room to run, okay? He's got space because the ball is delivered on time. So now we're talking about yak, we're talking about getting a little bit extra. So I think that that one looked really good. Next play is a 1st and 20 versus Florida, and what we're going to have on this one is a cornerback blitz, okay? So I'm not quite sure if Nico saw this pre-snap. He might have this because it looked like the blitz got picked up pretty well. So the cornerback's coming, and we've got a comeback right here from the wide receiver. Now, what I want to focus on right here, y'all, is that I think Nico maybe could have gotten this ball out just a little bit sooner. So this could also be part of our scheme because maybe that should have been hot. Hey, if that cornerback's coming, you go up 2 or 3 steps, turn around right here, right now, we're going to get you the football. So Nico is still waiting. It looks like he's actually looking to this side of the field and not even necessarily looking over here. But again, I think maybe he realized that this was coming pre-snap. Get the football out right here, right now, because the person that's guarding this wide receiver is, he's right here. He's more to the inside. So you get him the football right now. Same thing that we talked about before. If the ball is there on time to the wide receivers, they have a chance to make these guys miss, however they have to do that. And if you can make a miss to the outside, all of a sudden, y'all, we're talking about potentially 6 points. So we wait a little bit long, and obviously the cornerback or safety, whoever, he's able to get closer to the wide receiver. He's able to make this stop. Now, it is great that the pass was completed, but little things like this, again, that can make a very big difference in, minimal gain versus an explosive gain. All right, now we have a 3rd and 9 versus Alabama, and they are going to show some late pressure, and Nico is going to do a good job of, changing this play up. And you can also see Coach Heupel down here at the same time. This is how I know that Nico does have the power to change the plays, because Coach Heupel isn't doing anything. He's just pacing down the sideline. Nico is doing this all on his own. He's just looking at his wide receivers. He's not looking at the sideline, bunches the wide receivers up at the bottom of the screen. And what we're going to do, because we have cornerbacks, secondary players, whatever, they're playing so far off, Nico checks this to a quick screen. It is a great call, great decision by him. Look at that. It's on time. What do we have here? We have an opportunity to make plays after the catch. Now, did it get to the first down marker? It doesn't look like it did, but I love the simple fact that Nico identified what was going on pre-snap, and he put us in a good position to at least get a positive play. He's giving his playmakers opportunities to make plays, to get us that first down. If we can't get the first down, at least we're closer to field goal range, or even in a better position to punt the ball and pin Alabama back, within their own 5-yard line. So love this play, y'all. This is the growth of a young quarterback over the course of a season. All right, now we have a 2nd and 7 versus Alabama. And on this play, Nico's going to feel some pressure. He's going to panic some. First and foremost, running backs coming out of the backfield as a check down, going straight out to the flats. And then we also are going to have the tight end right here is going to run. It looks like probably an option route where he could go outside or inside, but he's going to be open. So this is what we're talking about with being on time. So at this point, boom, go ahead and let it roll. Okay, so here, Nico could have been throwing this pass right here, right now. Again, it's 2nd and 7, and the tight end really doesn't have much of a threat around him anywhere. He probably would have got the first down if we just make this throw. So Nico doesn't like that option for whatever reason. He tries to scramble. Again, he panics. He forgets that he's got a guy out here until it's a little bit too late. And then, Nico tries to get it out to him, and obviously the ball is one-hopped. And, if you got the ball out there on time, even if he would have gotten it out there late, it looks like we would have had a good opportunity to maybe get this first down. So these are the things that Nico definitely is going to have to get better with moving forward, just knowing where to go pre-snap and not panicking and getting the ball to your playmakers and letting them eat. Next play is going to be 2nd and 10, also versus Alabama. Something that they did a really good job of, y'all, versus us, is they would slant their defensive linemen over that way, and then they would blitz this way. So you will notice that our entire offensive line moves in this direction, and these guys pretty much come unblocked. Okay, so just wanted to let y'all know that. But on this play, really good route combinations here. Okay, so we're gonna have 2 guys running things off. Then we've got the tight end coming out to the flats. It was actually a perfect play call. It's almost like a screen. So go and let it roll. All right, so Nico, play action. He kind of panics here. He forgets, okay, the pressure is coming right here, right now. It's there. Nico, I think, might have been looking at these deeper routes. Again, we've talked about that a few times. I think that's what he's looking at. Instead of hitting a guy that's literally wide open, he takes a sack. So this is what we're talking about with Nico, right? And again, this is kind of when he really started to pick things up versus Alabama. I think that his play really went up another couple of notches, but these types of things would have helped Tennessee out in a tremendous way if Nico would just kind of take what the defense is giving him, know where the hot looks are, where your hot reads at, and get the ball to your playmakers as quickly as possible. Next play is going to be a 3rd and 6 versus Ohio State. They're going to bring a whole lot of pressure, y'all. It's going to be, 6 or 7 people are going to come on a blitz. So again, pre-snap, you have to be able to ID where's the pressure coming from, where's my hot looks at, and he's going to have a tight end on a little whip route right here, backwards whip route, and he's just not going to try to throw it there. So we'll go ahead and let this thing go, but this is where he should have gone. So boom, you see the pressure coming at this point. Right? You've got to throw this thing and throw it right now. You got to get it out of your hands. Obviously, with a route like this that goes to the outside, comes back to the inside, maybe Nico could have changed that route because he saw, hey, the pressure is probably coming. And even if he didn't see it, this right here, this was his best option. But instead, Nico's going to try to force the football, I believe, right here. So let's go ahead and let this thing continue to roll. He's going to try to get it there, and obviously it's going to be incomplete. Just because the pass wasn't accurate. He waited too long. He's throwing the ball under stress. He's throwing it under pressure. You got to get it out to your playmakers as quickly as possible. Whenever you feel that blitz coming, you got to know where the hot stuff is at, and you got to get the football there. Again, man, 3rd and 6 on this, probably would have had a chance to convert if Nico does hit his tight end on that play. All right, y'all, last play that we'll be looking at today. This is a 3rd and 9 versus Ohio State. As you can see, a lot of pressure is coming. Offensive line and everyone else, they do a good job of actually picking this stuff up. So Nico wants to go to this slot fade, which I don't absolutely hate. I think that that's a great thing to do because it's quick. Fades are 3-step drops, but we also will have backside, a little skinny post that's also going to come open, but we're seeing man-to-man coverage. So these are the different looks. Nico's just kind of going through his options. He knows where he wants to go, and this is what he chose. So we're going to let this thing roll. I actually think this is probably pretty good. So does a good job stepping up into the pocket. I think that's a pretty accurately thrown ball. Now, maybe you could argue that Nico could have thrown this thing back shoulder and maybe given his, wide receiver a better opportunity to make this catch. But I like the fact that he is trusting his guys. Hey, look, you go make the play. I'm going to get the ball to you. You go make the play. Wide receiver lets him down right here. They don't make the play. But I like this. I think that this one is pretty positive. You could also maybe argue, hey, Nico could have thrown this comeback right here versus really bad cornerbacks because we knew that their cornerbacks were hot garbage. But again, I like the fact that Nico's not afraid to throw the ball, to the end zone in these sorts of situations. He's got pretty much everything that you want from that perspective. And really, y'all, it's not a whole lot for me to say right here. When people are running wide open down the field, you got to be able to hit them. But there are maybe a couple things that I could talk about that could make it a little bit easier on Nico. Number one, like we talked about with the pre-snap reads, if you know what's going on pre-snap, you should understand who's going to be open down the field. And that could help Nico out just because he can 1, 2, 3, I'm throwing it deep. That turns it into a shorter deep pass, which is easier to be accurate on the shorter passes that you're throwing vertically, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to wait till this guy gets open post-snap, and then I'm going to throw it, and it turns into a 50, 60, 70-yard pass. Those are a little bit more difficult to be accurate with. So I think that could definitely help Nico out. And really, if you're looking at most of these misses, they're actually good misses. Nico is, throwing the ball down the field to the outside. He's typically overthrowing his wide receivers. And maybe it could help him out as well if he was to underthrow him some. He has to understand when he can, hey, I'm going to back shoulder this fade, or I'm going to, underthrow it some and, high point it, or, throw it up high so that my wide receivers can make a play. You can get more pass interference calls with underthrown deep passes, and you also give the big 6'5" guys a better opportunity to go, maul somebody. So I think that's something that Nico did a much better job with as we got deeper into the season, but that's something that he's just going to have to continue to rep over and over and over again because, yeah, we missed a lot of touchdowns. I'd say probably 10 of them that were just overthrown, by Nico. So I think that we will be fine. Obviously, there are several little things that we could talk about with a lot of different places on this team, and we will. We're going to try to talk about everybody, but everyone needs to just get a little bit better. Obviously, with this being Nico's first season, we all know he's going to go through some growing pains. Basically, he was a freshman. The more that he plays, the better that he's going to get. And I would expect for sure that next season we'll start to see some more on-time passes. He's going to understand what's going on pre-snap because he's seen all these looks several times. So that should help us out. And the offense, even if we don't change the thing from a scheme perspective, from a play calling perspective, it will take those steps forward. Will it be enough for us to get over the hump and be national champions? I don't think so. I think that we would still need to maybe implement a little bit, a little bit more versatility within our play calling for us to get over that hump. And if we add that to Nico just kind of, understanding what to do pre-snap, everything that we talked about today, then I do think that Tennessee is going to be in a really good spot. And we will be talking about the offensive line and everyone else coming up here pretty soon. But thank you guys so much for sticking all the way to the end. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.